Hello, Yes to Birthers. This is Rachel Yellen, and we are here at the Yes to Birth experience with Judith Hanson Lasater. I could not be more delighted that Judith is with us here today because Judith is the queen of relaxation. Judith is, not only does she have a PhD in East-West psychology and physical therapy, but she is not just she's a yoga teacher, but she is like the yoga teacher. Studied with BKS Iyengar in the 70s, and she is one of the founders of Yoga Journal magazine and one of the founders of the Iyengar Yoga Institute in San Francisco. And I am particularly connected to Judith because Judith taught my Relax and Renew restorative yoga teacher training, and she also taught my prenatal yoga teacher training, which were pivotal in my launching into doing birth work. Judith has also authored 9 books, and her latest one is called Restore and Rebalance, Yoga for Deep Relaxation. And I love Judith because she's straightforward and she's compassionate, and she has a way of communicating that is straight to the point, and it's loving and direct, and just I just appreciate her so much. So Judith, thank you so much for being here. Welcome.
Thank you so much. I'm delighted to be here. Birth and birth education and babies have always been a passion. I had 3 babies of my own and now 5.5 grandchildren. Another one's on the way, and it's such an important part of life and such important work that you all do. And I'm honored to be part of it. Thank you so much for your kind words.
You are so welcome. So Judith, I described you, and my friends and I talk about you as the queen of relaxation, the one who tells us about how important it is to do nothing, that yoga, restorative yoga, is about the art of nothing. So I particularly want to talk to you as one of the top experts in this area of relaxation. And I would love for you to help our viewers understand, what is relaxation? Why is it so important? What happens to the brain? What happens to the nervous system when someone is in a, not just relaxing, like some of us just relax, but in a physiological state of relaxation? So can you help us understand that?
Yes, thank you. One of the most important things I think to understand about relaxation is a distinct state from sleep. So you can sleep and wake up and feel worse. You can be tense when you wake up. So relaxation is on the same side of the continuum as sleep, if we look as a physiologist, but it is distinctive. And if a physiologist were hooking your brain up and your body up, they could say this person is in a state of quiescence. And in fact, if we relax, we sleep better. So we have really bad sleep hygiene. We go to bed at different times, we stay up too late, and you know what happens. If you stay up after 10 or 10:30, you get what I call the dreaded second wind, and you can stay up till 2 because of the way our body rhythms, our circadian rhythms are. So relaxation is a specific state in which we consciously choose to manipulate the nervous system. And I know people say, what manipulate the nervous system? But Rachel, we are manipulating our nervous system all day long. We get up, we go for a run, we take a shower, we stand on our head, we drink coffee, we eat sugar, we smoke funny cigarettes, all the things all day long. I am, everyone is attempting to create and alter their inner states, create the states they want. So when we lie down consciously to relax, we prop our head, our knees, our ankles, our wrists, we cover our eyes, we set our timer, and we withdraw from the world and we let ourselves drop down. We are now stimulating the parasympathetic nervous system, which is the rest and repair nervous system. And we're moving away from the sympathetic nervous system, which has traditionally been called fight or flight. There's some more languaging around that, but the go-go nervous system. And one of the most interesting things, especially as it relates to pregnancy and birth, is when you are in a state, measurable state of relaxation, which respiration slows, heart rate slows, blood pressure drops, and a lot of hormonal shifts in the body happen, you are not anxious. You cannot be anxious and relaxed at the same time. Physiologically impossible. It's like turning an off-on light switch to both at the same. You can't do that. And so I can think of absolutely nothing better as a preparation for parenting, for birth, for pregnancy, than learning how to willfully, consistently rest for 20 minutes a day. I want you to do nothing every day for 20 minutes. The best thing you can do is nothing.
I love that. Yes, I love that. And why do we have so much resistance to that? I know I find myself, I make audio relaxation programs. Like I have recordings that, and I do use them, but what is causing people to resist relaxation? What are they afraid of will occur if they slow down and take a little time out?
Well, it's kind of funny. I think, how a 2-year-old, I'm not tired, and the tireder they get, the more they reject sleep. And then you get them into bed and they're asleep in 14 seconds. So we all have the inner 2-year-old because we have something called the rational mind, which is this thin veneer over the rest of our brain. And we live from that almost exclusively. And I like to think that there's also a belly brain. And some research has shown that there are in your abdomen and thorax receptor sites that respond to the same neurotransmitters as the brain and the head. And this is where intuition comes from. This is where deep knowing comes from. I'm not against the thinking brain. I think it has delusions of grandeur. And so it makes up excuses. Well, I'll just do my email. Well, I'll go to bed early tonight. Well, I'll do it tomorrow. But Rachel, wouldn't you love to live in a world where everyone rested for 20 minutes?
Yes.
And reduced their stress hormones and reduced their agitation when they're driving and were able to sleep better? The whole world is better if we all do nothing.
I love that. The whole world is better when we do nothing. Yes.
And when we do nothing and the parasympathetic nervous system is stimulated, that's what controls long-term functions like fertility, like immunity, like growth and repair. Things that you can't do quickly, like run from the tiger. They're long-term processes of health. So if you watch television commercials, you'll see they are full of remedies for headaches, constipation, diarrhea, all kinds of digestive upsets. And a lot of those are directly related to our stress level. And here's the absolute key to stress levels. I believe that our stress levels are directly related to what we tell ourselves about time. So if I were to ask you, Rachel, to tell me one sentence about time in your life, what would it be? There's what? Not enough.
Not enough.
So this is our rational mind, a so-called rational mind, telling us something that's not true. Everyone alive in the world today has exactly the same amount of time. So instead of saying, oh, there's not enough time to get to my yoga class on relaxation in time, I'm going to be late, there's not enough time, that stresses you out, that thought. But what if you said, oh, apparently there's not as much time as I'm going to need to get there by 5 o'clock. That is an observation. If you keep saying there's not enough time, that riles you up, that stimulates you, and that's a judgment. So one of my children was visiting a school. It was a private school, and he was visiting as a 3.5-year-old, 4-year-old. They had them come and see how they fit with the other kids, how they liked it. So when I picked him up, I thought, I wonder if he really liked it. So I thought I would ask him, was it a long time or a short time? And he said, neither one. It was a circle. In other words, it was a whole thing that he was there and felt and loved. And when he got older, he once said to me, Mommy, time is big. Time is big. And so what I'm talking about is a shift in perspective, which is what the entire practice of yoga is about. It's a shift in perspective about how we view time, that we choose to fill it up. We choose what we do with our time. And we need to put on our iCal or our Franklin Covey, which I have old-fashioned paper, which I like. We need to block out a time, 30 minutes rest for us. So we have time to go set up a little relaxation. We come home from work first thing in the morning before the kids are up. At 3 o'clock in the afternoon, instead of coffee and a sweet, we have to put it in there. We have to draw a circle. And we have to keep inviolate those moments, because I'll tell you a story. So my kids were probably late high school, early college, a couple in college or one in college, something like that. And they were all home on break. And they looked at me and one of them said, Mom, you're acting like a brat. You need to go upstairs to the yoga room and shavasana yourself, meaning take shavasana. They made that title of the relaxation pose in Sanskrit a verb. To shavas became a verb in our family. And they were absolutely right. And when we do that, Rachel, when we take 20 minutes out to rest and move away from the outer world and rest deeply in the inner world, people like us a lot better. We like ourselves a lot better. And studies show we are more productive, more creative. We digest better. We sleep better. It's the magic pill. It's doing nothing.
Yes.
The best thing you can teach your children, model for your children, it's if you do that, and I'll end with this, but if you do that every day during pregnancy, sideline shavasana, like I show in the book behind you, or you go to a class where they teach that, you lie down and you rest. That is the best thing you can do, because it reduces anxiety and fatigue and gets you in touch with you, because you are the one that knows the most about your pregnancy, because you're living in it. Not only is the baby living in you, but you're living the pregnancy, and it's in you. All the knowledge and awareness about it is in you. I want you to trust that.
Judith, I love your stories about your children and the wisdom of children. And I would love for you to talk with our listeners about the impact, what it's like for a baby to be grown, what we know about what it's like for a baby to be grown inside a woman who is experiencing a lot of ease in her life, and what are the benefits? What are the benefits to the baby specifically? So we know, you've talked about the mom and her stress levels are down and she's sleeping better and she's more connected to her pregnancy. What about the baby?
Well, they used to say back in the day that you could take some kind of pill or medicine and that the placenta was the filter that wouldn't get to the baby. And then we studied more, and I've heard it called a bloody sieve. It's like whatever you take in, we know that physically, whatever the mother takes in goes across the placenta into the baby. Well, everything that you take in visually, that you take in psychically, the field, the psychic field, the collective unconscious in which you're living, the dynamics of who's around you, because they now find that babies learn the accent of their native language. They start learning it in utero. The accent of Italian, the accent of English, they start learning it in utero. And I remember one yoga student who came faithfully during her whole pregnancy, and we would talk to her baby. And she brought her newborn back a couple of weeks after giving birth to show the class, because it wasn't a prenatal class, it was a regular class. And she put the baby near me, and I said something to the baby, and that baby whipped its head around and looked right at me. So we know that there is no separation. In fact, this is being a student of yoga philosophy. This is the fundamental truth that I have learned about reality. All right, write this down. Remember, fundamental truth is that there is no separation. There is literally no separation. Talk to a physicist. We're all swimming in a sea of electrons in massive space. So what we think, what we do, where we are, how we breathe, it all matters. At the same time, you have to trust the process. You can't be terrified that you were in a loud rock concert and it's going to change your baby's life forever. I mean, that's why you relax, so you reduce your anxiety. But there is nothing that doesn't affect us. There is no stimulus that doesn't affect us.
So for the baby, there's it sounds like an enormous impact of who the mother is, what she's experiencing, how she's living is the foundation from which this human being is created.
Yes, and that carries on over into your mothering. Because mothering, if I had to have a symbol for mothering, it would be a question mark. Because every baby's different, every labor's different. A first baby's born into a certain family shape. Second baby's born into a completely different family shape. And I once had a pediatrician tell me this, that one grandmother is worth 3 pediatricians. And this brings me to what I call one of my mantras of daily living, which is just a mantra comes from the word manas, which means mind, and tra, to transcend. So a mantra is something that helps us transcend our ordinary way of thinking. So here's one of the most important ones I know. Trust yourself first. Trust yourself first. Notice I didn't say trust yourself only, but trust yourself first. Trust your instincts in your pregnancy. Trust your instincts in mothering and parenting and fathering. Trust your instinct because it's there, but we have to have a way of learning to find it because its voice is drowned out often. And so that's one of the things that a 20-minute relaxation does for us. It helps us be embodied. You know, there's this idea with meditation called mindfulness, where we watch the thoughts. But I have invented this word I call bodyfulness, that we become embodied and trust the inner intuitive sense, which I believe comes from the second brain, the interesting book, by the way. These neurotransmitters from the gut, our gut is telling us things all the time, thousands of messages. And in fact, new research says that 80% of our sense of well-being comes from our gut. And that the brain is more of an executor. It's an executive taking in all this information. And often that information coming from the belly does not break through our consciousness unless it's extremely pleasurable or extremely painful. So that gets our attention, but there are subtler levels of that. When you eat something that's just exactly what you wanted, just exactly the right amount, tune into your belly and it's humming. So I think our 20-minute relaxation, which we're talking about today, is the foundation of becoming embodied and trusting your intuition, not to the exclusion of your common sense, whatever that is, if there is enough of it to go around anymore in the world, but that we trust what comes from us, not just into us from the outside. And I think pregnancy and labor and birthing are the most internalized experience that certainly I have had. I didn't notice at the birthing center that the pillows on the bed matched the curtains. What I experienced in that deeply embodied time was my sensation and my relationship with the people around me. That was my environment.
Can we talk about those two things, about the sensation? So first I want to talk about sensation, and then I want to talk about the environment. The sensation of labor is, I come from a paradigm around birth that essentially says that when we relax, when we enter into a state where the limbs are out of order, where the abdominal muscles are relaxed, that more blood flow is going to go to the uterus, making the uterus function better. And therefore, when the uterus has more oxygenated blood flowing to it, we'll see a reduction in the degree to which a woman feels the sensations, otherwise known as the pain. I don't even like to use the word pain because pain is indicating when something is wrong. But in labor, the sensations, if you want to have a vaginal birth, you have to feel something. You have to have some sensation. So I would love for you to talk about just anything that you want to speak to around the sensations of labor and how to implement relaxation during the birth itself, or how to use the relaxation practice ahead of time to be able to change your experience, the mother's experience of the sensations.
All right. It's not something you can decide to do once you're in labor. You have to train yourself. You have to start as soon as possible, yesterday. I feel that the years that I had practiced yoga were exactly the right training for me. I started practicing in 1970. I gave birth in 1977. So I had a lot of practice under my belt. And I realized that when we do the asana, the poses, is there not a little bit of discomfort in the opening? But we learn to experience that discomfort as a focal point, and then we let go around it. We feel the tightness and the restriction in the forward bend, for example. And then what do? We stop, we notice it, we breathe, and we let go. And we wait on the body. This body moves at a different speed than the mind. So when you practice your yoga, if you go to the point of resistance, and then you wait and you breathe, the resistance shifts. So when I was in labor, I had a blinding flash of the obvious. I have those all the time. A blinding flash of the obvious that it was an asana, metaphorically. That the strong contraction of the uterus was like a strong stretch in an asana. And that I could shift my perspective by saying, this is a message of love, of life is giving me. This is my body telling me it's working so hard to give me this baby. And I just had trained my body for so long when it was a strong stretch, was to let go into it. Resistance is the suffering. And resistance often comes from fear. So I'm not trying to paint a rosy picture. Labor is the metabolic equivalent of swimming 9 miles. It is hard work. It is hard work. But boy, the prize you get at the end. So the other reason, as we mentioned before, is this ability to have trained ourselves to let go in the face of difficulty. It's a life skill. And it's certainly a skill to have in practicing asana. It's absolutely the skill to have when giving birth. And the other thing is to remember, every contraction you have, you will never have again.
Amazing. Yes. And can you just, I'm yes to everything that you're saying. I'm trying to squeeze in some more juicy information for our viewers. You talked about the environment and the importance of the environment. Can you just say a few words about how the environment impacts a birthing woman and how it affects her experience of relaxation and being able to focus in the ways that you're describing?
Well, yes, I'll try. I have the image that the pregnant, laboring woman is a funnel that the universe is using to bring forth this manifestation. And in order for that to happen, the laboring woman needs to be very porous to the experience. Unconscious women have given birth. But we want to be awake and alive if we can, and totally alive to it, because it is the universe expressing itself. And it is the great mystery. It is the greatest of mysteries. You talk about miracles. This human being grows in you, and your body knows how to do this. And we need people around us that trust us. We trust. People who know that the laboring woman's body knows how to do this. And that one of the thoughts that always helped me was to become bigger than me in labor and think, how many women are in labor? This gives me chills. How many women are in labor with me at this moment all around the world? We're all doing this greatest act of creation that is possible. I am not alone. I'm with my sisters. And we're all doing this together.
Completely. Every 2.5 seconds, there's a baby born. No, it's amazing.
Someone's in labor with you right now.
That's right. Judith, I want to ask you just a couple more questions, but before I do, I'm so taken with and reminded about the significance of the importance of the daily relaxation. And it's not just about getting a time out in the day. It's about a systemic wellness. It's about a pathway to a life of greater peace and ease. So I really want to encourage our Yes to Birthers to go to your website. So Yes to Birthers, go to Judith's website. She's got 2 websites, judith.yoga and Judith Hanson Lasater.com. Hanson is with an O. And on there, you'll see she's got an article called The Absolute Necessity of Doing Nothing with 3 Daily Habits to Feed Your Soul. And it's wonderful. I highly recommend that you check that out. And also, Judith, didn't mind just telling our group here just a few words about the Shavasana Intensive.
Well, first of all, we think it's a funny name because Shavasana means conscious relaxation. So it's intense relaxation. So we call it Shavasana Intensive just because it makes us smile. And then, but it's a 21-day program. And the thing is, it takes 21 days supposedly to create a habit. So every day there's something about Shavasana. There's a new prop to use that might help you. There's different ideas to have and think about all day. There's ideas about how to look at what you resist. There's practices, and then we lead you through Shavasana. We actually, so you can listen. I mean, it's a very well-rounded. We know that for many of us, this is a hard habit to create. But I tell you what, there are 3 levels to Shavasana, if I may, to relaxing. And the first one is physiologic relaxation. And that takes at least 15 minutes for average person to really get relaxed. When you just feel heavy and you've let go, and that takes at least 15 minutes. But then Shavasana, I make a distinction that relaxation, physiological, measurable relaxation, is the precursor to Shavasana. And this is how I define Shavasana. Shavasana is a state of complete introversion, that you are aware of the sounds around you, but you don't dance with them. If you hear a telephone in the distance, it doesn't bother you. You hear a loud truck rumble by, you notice it, but you don't think, oh, I wonder if that's my neighbor's getting their furniture delivered. Maybe I should go, or I hear my phone, oh, I should go see who's calling me. It is a complete introverted, silent state. And there's no ambition. No ambition. You can see your thoughts passing, like you could feel the wind passing your body, going by your body, or see the wind's effect on the leaves, but you don't go with the wind. And that, for 5 minutes to be in that state, that's when I think the really deep physiologic benefits happen. And if you get into that state one time, you want it again. If you lie down for 10 minutes, you may not get there. You must devote 20 minutes, 15 minutes to get physiologically heavy, soft, very light breath. And then there's this feeling of dropping under, where you no longer want anything. And that's a state of contentment, that we are actively cultivating a state of contentment every day. And that will change your birth, will change your pregnancy, will change your relationships. That, Rachel dear, when one operates from that state, you change the world.
Judith, you've answered the last 2 questions that I had, which is, about what's the walk away, right? What's the takeaway for our listeners, which is, of course, to 20 minutes every day of intentional relaxation. And is there anything else that you would like for our but besides, I'm going to recommend, of course, that they go to your website and they get the absolute necessity of doing nothing. They look at the Shavasana intensive. They consider getting the Relax and Renew restful yoga for stressful times and your yoga for pregnancy book. And if for any of you that are viewing, if you are interested in becoming a yoga teacher or deepening your yoga practice, Judith's in-person trainings are so phenomenal. I highly recommend those. I have done several, and it's like, I mean, can you imagine, 5 days of doing, relaxation poses all day long? It's like heaven. So please consider that. And Judith, is there anything else that you want the Yes to Birthers, whether they are pregnant people or birth workers, to come away with to help have a healthier, less painful, empowering, satisfying pregnancy and birth?
Yes, but first I want to thank you. I want to appreciate you for all you do that makes the world a better place for me and my children and for many children and many people. Every day when it's hard, you're still doing it. Every day when it's difficult, when you lose faith, all of you, when you lose faith and things go badly, remember how much you're needed. So I want to give you two quotes. One is 20-minute relaxation is magic. Do you want to know what the magic is? It doesn't work if you don't do it. You have to do it. It's not a spectator sport. You can't watch someone relax and feel better. You have to do it. And then my favorite quote, Judith quote, I'd like to end with that, which is, we think life is strong and love is fragile, but really it's the other way around. Life hangs by a thread and love holds the universe together. Namaste.
Namaste, Judith. Bye, everybody. We'll see you again soon. Take care. I am so happy that you're a part of the Yes to Birth movement. Please visit yestobirth.com to learn more about my pregnancy, birth, and beyond audio relaxation program, my childbirth education and techniques programs, and my private counseling and coaching. Yes to Birth. I'm Rachel Yellen. Bye.